watching, I'm like, what's your?
How's the air up there?
Nuts.
All right, we're on.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
License and health meeting come to additional meeting, board meeting. We
Reconvene.
have
We're reconvening.
reconvening again. So all
Mr.
the
Chair, just for the record,
members, all the members are present, so we can move ahead.
Mr. Chair, just for the record, so we were off the air for a moment there in a technical difficulty. We had ended one item, and the communication department thought we were done with the entire agenda. We didn't have any discussions of any matters of substance related to the agenda while we were off air.
No, we talked about my knee.
All right. So, so now we can go ahead with police department report regarding tavern's violation call for service for the month of July 2020.
Does the committee have that? Did you review
Yeah,
it?
I had them all the copies, I think, yeah.
I don't have them to go over line item by line item. I did review them. I didn't see anything significantly of note.
Mr. Chair? Nick, if
Yes.
I may, is this the one, July 2020, with Z-Bar?
Z-Bar's not on this one. There's a summons and complaint pending for Z-Bar.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah. I believe
Okay.
the only one that caught my attention was, I think, TNT's on this one.
Yeah.
And there had been some concern over TNT previously. There was a police investigation, and I'm not aware of any findings that came out of that.
I reviewed this and it drew concern right away to me. Apparently,
Right.
the new owner is LaMarcus Young. And what ended up happening, from my understanding of reading this, is there was an inquiry to do some sort of fundraising event involving the dinette
Dining
store.
store, yes.
It ended up being a huge auto show that shut down the streets. There was open drinking, intoxication,
On
a
Burnham,
lot.
yes,
On
totally.
Burnham,
I got
and
call from people in the
I
neighborhood.
had real big concern because there were multiple establishments that were involved, and I think there was a little bit of false representation as to what was really taking place. So, for example, the owner of Burnham Bowl was drawn into this because she was asked if her parking lot could be used because it was a fundraiser.
yes.
So the short of the story is, where I saw this going is TNT Sports Bar on 59th and Burnham. LaMarcus Young is the new owner with his brother, I believe, is what noted in the report. But the former liquor agent, or the listing agent, Tina Minto, hasn't worked there since October of 2019. So my question is how is she still a liquor agent when LaMarcus Young and his brother now own this? And it comes back to, they were a big part of this auto show and really kind of the whole neighborhood being taken over that weekend.
Procedurally, if they were to be called in, they wouldn't have much to say or answer to for that. It'd be the agent coming in. And so if they are operating without an agent, basically, because they're just using the other one, they're going to have some problems. I will take this discussion here today and use that going forward, and the committee can expect to see some additional documentation requesting some appearances.
Okay, I appreciate that, because I picked that up right away, and it's like they shouldn't be operating if there's
Nick,
a liquor agent not
The problem
there.
really that occurred, that the organizer of this event, they just go ahead and did it without, the police department was unaware what they were really doing, I mean, I was kind of surprised when the squad cars went there and they see all this jams of crowds of people, I mean, so that, they were surprised. And then there was some problem that occurred, and so to me it was not really a good thing, so that's why we should pursuing with this one here, really.
Yeah, I'd like to know more information
Yes, more
about it, for
information
sure.
about that, really. We don't want to just go dormant on it, Very good.
Got it.
Any question from the committee?
I don't think there's any other real standouts besides, reading the reports are always interesting.
I think
and-
that's only one, I think that we have to,
Okay.
Yeah.
I get that, and the other
Work
one
on
down
it.
that the Bruno asked for.
yeah.
And the other question I did have is there was another call to Lemansky's. And I've just noticed in the past couple months that I've seen several calls going into Lemansky's. Is there something you can bring back to us to see how many calls have been going through?
I can bring you,
where
I can
the-
either provide a kind of an analysis. My only concern would be providing information that you might judge prior to a summons and complaint. So I guess my advice would be, I can look through it, and if I find there to be kind of a repeated pattern at Lemansky's, I would rather bring a summons and complaint for the committee to proceed on rather
Right.
than kind of
Exactly.
a made-up evidence that shouldn't be considered.
Right,
be
and
discussed,
it
or-
just may be that just
Yeah.
keeps popping
Sure.
in my head, that's why I'm asking you, you know, if you can
Lemansky's.
look into that.
I'll look into it, and if there is, I don't want to take any discretion away from the committee, and so if anybody wants to contact me individually and I can kind of relay it, I would rather do it that way than provide something totally. And if I do see something, I'll hedge on the side of bringing more to you than leaving something out, and I'll issue a summons and complaint.
All right.
Very
okay,
good.
Okay. So do we move forward from here, or what do we,
Well,
I think you'd have to place the police report on file, or the police department report on file, and then there
Okay.
is the next item.
a motion to,
I move to place on file.
second?
all in favors?
Aye.
Put it
Aye.
on file. The aye has it.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you. So then we go on with review of license applicant background checks for consideration of possible approval or denial.
All right,
Miss-
so, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yes,
No,
go-
you go ahead.
go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I'll just run through these real quick. Unless somebody already has an idea of what they want to do on them, I don't mind.
Oh.
Well, I was gonna ask if everybody had an opportunity to review all of the applicants.
Yes,
Because
yeah,
then rather than going just completely line item by line item, if there was any standouts, and I kind of looked through, concerning ones. And I would move for approval on all with the exception, further discussion on Albert, is it Godoy? Baker, Kayla Andrus, Keith Tim, Nicole Nowak,
So you approve,
and Peter Berglund. Those are the concerns I have. If we, move to approve the others, I'm fine with that.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we're moving to approve.
approve,
All the other ones except
All the
ones
other
you
ones.
mentioned.
Yeah.
Blackbird, Gunther,
Blackbird,
Deschelt, Ailes, Cataldo, Wuzensky, Kowalski, and Crivello are being approved.
No, add Crivello to the review.
Berglund and Crivello are going to be reviewed.
Yes, please.
Very good. Do you have that, Ann?
No,
Blackbird,
these are okay?
these are the ones that, this is the motion at least,
Okay.
there's not been a vote. But Blackbird, Gunther, Deschelt, Ailes, Cataldo, Wuzensky, and Kowalski. The motion is to approve those and then further discussion on the remainder.
Is my order not in the same as yours?
I printed this one up today, I thought. I
Okay.
left some out.
You left some out?
Yeah, there's
Okay.
Godoy, Baker, Andrus, Tim, Noack, Berglund, and Crivello were all for discussion. on
Okay.
Whether to approve or deny.
some anywhere for discussions or concerns?
Well,
With,
Godoy here, based on the works and CCAP notes, I have concerns because, and this is just for discussion with all of you, the basic ones for the DOT notes were, speeding, but what I look back at, there was misdemeanor battery, disorderly conduct with a weapon, and these are dated, so I'm not quite sure how the committee wants to proceed. That's why I just kind of thought we'd talk about it. Bail jumping, theft, that was all like 2005, but kind of having an idea going forward, how we're working together as a committee, I kind of wanted to know what you guys
Well,
thought when we're looking at
2000
such things.
2005, I mean, I wonder if we should, if this really is something that we can follow up, to look in more in-depth, about it, otherwise, I don't know. If it would be,
What years can we technically go back until?
Whatever the committee, so there's no hard fast rule there. Your accountability is gonna be if and when somebody challenges a decision you make and a court in Milwaukee County Circuit Court says, yeah, no, that's way too far, or that, I don't think there's gonna be a rule in terms of time. What I will say to the committee is that of the 111.335, what's the words I'm trying to think of? Rehabilitation that's listed, time is one, so the remoteness or how long ago it was.
Okay.
I'd also say that one of the explicit, not just the factors, but one of the ones that says is explicitly, this is competent evidence of rehabilitation, is successful completion of a sentence. My argument would be, as the prosecutor especially, if somebody successfully completed their OWI third in 2017 and picked up another one in 2018, another one in 2019, I'm gonna argue till I'm blue in the face that I could care less if you completed probation. Clearly, you're not been rehabilitated.
Right.
I think if somebody had committed misdemeanor crimes in 2005, were sentenced on those and hasn't reoffended, and if they could provide information, whether it just be CCAP or not, in all likelihood, a person in that circumstance would likely be able to prove competent rehabilitation.
Okay.
But we could still hold them to the proof if you thought those were substantially related.
Well, I noticed the only thing that's really current are moving violations.
I would not say that any of those would be competent,
Right.
would be
Right.
substantially related.
The only thing
And that's why I
the only thing that stood
asked.
out was the 2011 disorderly conduct with a weapon, but it's been a pretty long time.
That went too
in my
far
opinion.
back, really.
Yeah, that's too far.
And that's why I put a question mark by that for discussion, because
Yeah.
I wasn't quite sure if that was a
Okay.
standout for anyone or where we would stand on that.
Yes.
So,
Okay,
with that being said, I would move for a motion to approve.
second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Oppose? The eye have it.
Okay, now moving a little bit more current, we have Jason Baker, I believe. And there was 2017 battery, 2017 OWI.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, yes.
the 2017 and 2017 are interesting in that this is a renewal application.
Okay.
And so, how I do these is that if it's a renewal, I try not to consider anything prior to that renewal period because they would have been considered at the time of their last offense.
Gotcha.
But, just like Mr. Stefik, when there's a new set of incidents or a new issue that took place, so our 2020 curfew or loitering or vagrancy, I question whether there's a conviction on that around that date only because the court shut down for a short period of time after that date, but
Okay.
I can look into that. That, in my head, would initiate, okay, is there habitual criminality? Can we look now, take those ones from previous, and are we making a pattern? And so that's the only reason I would ever say to look past a renewal, as if there is that habitual criminality. It's up to the committee, however you feel.
Okay.
How you guys feel about just,
So he got approved for a license renewal with an OWI in 2017.
Correct. And a battery.
Okay.
So that would have been the 17 to, well,
So that means obviously,
it would have been the 17 to 19 license, no, 18 to 20. So yes, he would have been approved.
so basically, the committee prior felt that he had rehabilitated and followed what he needed to do for an OWI. And
Either
that's why
that-
they renewed him probably, right?
I guess I can't say what the last committee thought. They could have thought one isn't enough to show that this is a pattern of bad acts. Sometimes people get OWIs and made a bad mistake, but that doesn't maybe show a pattern. I guess that's all I'm saying is by itself, any one of these may or may not be enough. Certainly ones that occurred prior to the last renewal, I would say don't consider unless we're arguing habitual law offender.
Okay.
but this one, I don't see the severity, right? It's not, but then again, it's up
Mr.
to the
Chair?
committee, you know. Go ahead, Alderman Road.
I believe in 2017, we didn't have the, have to have proof of rehabilitation.
I think it changed in like,
2018.
was it?
2018 and a half, wasn't it?
I'm trying to, I don't remember. I guess I can look at my, it would say on here. I thought it was 2000, well, it was since I was here and I joined in 2016, so it might have been end of 2016, but I don't think we really did much with it procedurally until things started changing. But that could be there was a change in how things were done.
We just weren't doing it.
Yep.
Okay.
By law, I mean, that's what precipitated the change, is that there was a law change somewhere around 15, 16, 17 that would require this committee to do more.
So what is, if this person's an adult, what is a curfew loitering vagrancy? What is that?
Um, I did look it up. I don't want to get too much into the facts because I'm not sure if it is a conviction at this point. That could be somebody where I would expect to see that, somebody being drunk and kind of dumb, maybe passed out somewhere. I'm not saying that's what happened here. Maybe trying door handles to cars and trying to get in them.
Okay.
That's the kind of ticket I see there.
So does that all fall under one category? That's why it says curfew, loitering, vagrancy? Is that,
I'm not sure that the police put that down. I just
Okay.
copied and pasted it because I don't want to make up information or hide anything from you.
okay.
Is that somebody that hasn't got a home? And he's just walking around and living under the bridge or something like that?
Could be, I suppose. I don't know.
Okay.
The local notes, my only concern over local notes is I'm not sure to what extent they consider convictions, and my strong advice to the committee would be to only consider convictions unless it is a violent, dangerous offense or a sex offense against somebody. Those are the only ones that we can consider.
So really, those are not enough for us to really pursuing anything, you know, really, it's not enough.
Committee has two options, really.
I mean, yeah, we have,
Deny with the ability to show competent evidence of rehabilitation. I would check at that point and tell you if this was a conviction or not, or allow them to proceed, and basically the only new one at that point would be the curfew, loitering, vagrancy.
I would think, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
with the former committee having this being a renewal, we can move to approve.
second, we hear second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the aye have it.
Now, if I move forward to the other, and I think, Nick, you actually answered a lot of my questions
Yeah.
with that, because I was looking at quite a list of prior misdemeanor, probation violations, theft citation. This is for Keith Tim.
On anything that's new, that's a different analysis. I'm not sure if that's, Tim
Is that new? That's not a renewal, correct? Yeah,
Tim
this is new.
Yep,
Okay.
and so anybody that has a conviction that substantially relates or potentially substantially relates, if it's a new license, it comes to you. If it's a
Okay.
renewal, if it's somebody in 2000, a renewal, and in 2015 they had an OAR, if I know that's already been considered and there's nothing that would potentially make that a habitual law offender, that one goes onto the consent agenda.
Okay. All right, and if everybody has that before them,
Yeah,
have they been
we will.
able to review what the works report
Yeah.
is and whatnot? Like I said, that just kind of did a standout to me for habitual criminality. However, there's nothing as recent, the last was in '08. I mean, so we're looking at quite a few years ago.
Well,
So,
there's one here from 11 that's possible burglary tools. What is that?
I think it's possession.
Burglarious.
yeah,
But that's way too long.
Burglarious tools are, you don't quite catch somebody doing a burglary, but they have like lockpicks and tools and stuff.
Okay.
It's a very difficult but fun trial.
yeah, and,
Yeah,
well,
you can
and
make your
there's
own.
just so many different violations here, and the thing that stood out to me was the contributing to the delinquency of a minor, and that was of a child, and that was listed a couple different times on here. But as I said, nothing as recent as within the past 10 years,
10 years,
correct?
I mean, that's a long.
Another consideration might be that some of these might have had some custody time, so also be aware of that. Like the misdemeanors in 2005 or 11, there's no chance to have more custody time than 9 months on those.
Gotcha.
These ones, the possession of burglarious tools is a felony. I believe it is. So some of those could have some time on them.
Okay.
Meaning you could have spent 2 years in custody and then gotten out and did 3 years of probation, and then you've only had actually making your own decisions for a year or two.
The one thing that really stands out and that's
So on the
nothing
emotion
compared to
then,
is,
Where does that
nothing
Right.
compared to, the other stuff is, he basically hasn't had any insurance for a vehicle and hasn't worn a seatbelt. So really,
Right.
there's not, to me, there's nothing that
Nothing
we
to do with the
can,
license,
we
really.
can deny him a license for. So I make a motion to approve.
Can I hear a
Which one
second?
are you talking about now?
Keith Tim?
He made a motion to
I'll
approve.
second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The aye have it.
Okay, and I think the final one would have been Nicole Nowak. And these are more concerning to me. She has two OWIs and one was in 2010 and one was in 2016. And she's a new operator. So based on what we had discussed in past meetings, I
Yes.
just wanted to know what the protocol, or if we're having a protocol as far as, okay, if there's multiple OWIs, I remember Alderman Rote saying, you know, committees in past have brought you forward, you know, for a summons and complaint. So,
There would have to be a summons complaint on a new one, so that's the tough part. It's a really weird.
Repeat that, please, Nick.
There does not have to be a summons and complaint on a new license.
Okay.
Only on a renewal license. And so you have a property interest when you're renewing. It's just the way the law works. I don't know why, but that's the way the law works. So if you're renewing a license, you have a property interest, there has to be a hearing to take it away.
okay.
If you
Otherwise,
are
this would be a
just trying to
trial.
get one for the first time, you have no interest in that, we can just say denied.
Okay.
They would still get a chance to show competent evidence of rehabilitation, but there's not the due process concerns there.
Okay.
Yeah, I would be more concerned if it was something, say, this year, you know, if it was a couple of months ago.
Well, no,
But
I
this
have
is
a
more,
problem
I
with it.
think, you
I have a
know,
problem with a DUI, and especially two of them within a 10-year period.
Yeah,
That's, you know, and somebody's coming to say they're gonna work in a bar, and they got 2 drunk driving
Actually, within a
violations.
6-year period.
Right, that was a 6-year period.
6 years, 6 years period.
No,
And I
I'm
mean-
saying from,
I know
Right.
what you meant.
from 2010 to now.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting at. That kinda concerns me.
Well, we can make, you can make a motion to deny and bring her in, and at least we can have an
Well,
ex,
She would have to
or
come
she would,
in.
well, she would make the opportunity to
Right.
appeal, right?
She'd come in and show competent evidence of rehabilitation if she
Okay.
wants.
Okay.
Yep.
All right,
So that's the emotion then, right?
I'll make a motion to, deny.
Second,
Second,
all in
Okay.
favors?
aye.
Alright,
The motion, the aye have it.
Okay, did we cover everyone, or are we missing anyone?
wasn't Peter Berglund one that you put on the list, or was that?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I think you call everybody now, right?
No, there
That
was-
was an OWI, yes, OWI in,
2018.
and that's new, motion to deny.
The one for.
Yep,
2000.
OWI 723 of 19. He has no priors, but I think in keeping
And,
pace to what we've been doing.
and he has a operating,
After revocation.
too.
Yep,
So I'll second that.
all right.
So all in favor of denial?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? The aye have it. Anything else?
Crivello was also on that list, and we did skip, I believe, and Kayla Andrus.
Kayla Andrus. Okay, she's an OWI in 2017, no insurance. Prior to that, no records to report. So keeping in line with the OWI and calling people in within the past couple of years, are we going to deny her? Or,
Just for one.
This is a new one, so
WY.
this would be deny or
yep,
approve.
your call. I'm just going based on what we've been doing.
Well, here's my thing. I always am a person who's willing to give somebody a second chance. Her only OWI was in 2017. The only other offense she has was no insurance, which there's many
Have
people
nothing to
that
do
go
with
around
that.
with no insurance, so it's not like you can
Right.
hold that against her for it, so.
And to me, really, one offense, you know, I mean, the time frame, you know, I mean, I would like to give her a chance, you know,
Yeah.
to really,
That was where I was gonna go with.
yeah,
I was
I
gonna,
mean, it's not really enough for us to deny him a license, really. If it was, like I said, a couple of months ago, then I would give him a year, you know, to come back again, you know, but it's a such length of,
what is the time frame that they can come back and reapply again?
well, then they can apply within a year, that's up to the
A year?
committee. A
One
If
year,
they're
year?
denied,
yeah.
if they're denied and they come back and they don't show competent evidence of rehabilitation, so they stay denied, I believe they can continue to reapply if they want to, as they see fit, if they want to keep on paying that fee. But I gotta imagine the answer's gonna be
I
the
don't think they're
same
gonna do that,
regularly.
you know.
Well, sometimes they do though.
with,
So is there a
I
motion?
make a
So we have a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Second,
Okay.
Second,
all in favors of the
Aye.
motion to approve?
Aye.
Aye.
The
Aye.
aye have it.
And then Crivello was pulled out as well.
Yes.
Okay, and let's look at Crivello. My apologies.
Should be the last one on my little
The
list that
last
I made.
one, yeah,
The last one.
yeah.
And maybe that's because I don't see
This is-
Crivello on mine.
This
Raymond.
is
So-
another,
Raymond?
So if somebody could take the lead on
this
that.
is another
Oh, here.
one-time
Mhm.
OWI, if I'm
Got it,
reading
thank
this
you.
correctly, right, Nick?
Correct.
In 2013, the other thing that was recent was failure to wear a seatbelt.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
So to me, like I said, another give a person a second chance.
okay.
on the
I
motion,
would motion to approve.
Second?
all in favors?
Aye.
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 The motion has been approved.
Okay.
And so just for the record, then we denied Peter Berglund and denied Nicole Nowak, and they're both gonna have an opportunity to come back and show competent evidence of rehabilitation.
Yes.
Initial
Yeah.
rehabilitation proofs.
And do you
Approval
have
on the
that?
rest.
Okay,
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
yes, Alderman Road?
I would have a question for Nick.
Yeah.
Operating without insurance, can we hold that against anybody? And I will ask you this question because last week, we had a capital improvements meeting. And Dave Webking went over just the amount of damage people are doing to our property. Like, you hit one of those little light boxes that control all the lights, that ain't $30. They're like 25 grand. If we, see, to me, and it's a state law, you have to have insurance. Now, why can we not?
So all the violations that we're looking at are state laws. Speeding's a state law too.
Correct.
And so the only concern I would have is how do we make a record that that is substantially, quote unquote, substantially related to the licensed activity? So once the law changed, that's the only thing we can deny on. In fact, again, somebody could have a pending substantial battery, something pretty darn serious, some felony, and it would still, we can't consider that pending offense. And so my question would be, how is the committee gonna make a record that no insurance substantially relates to the licensed activity? If you can do it, my job is to defend it, but I'm cautioning that there are some offenses that I think we're gonna have a really hard time arguing.
How about Bill Smith comes before us to get a license? And we know Bill Smith has no insurance, and we know Bill Smith did like 100 grand worth of damage to our property, and Bill Smith just walked from it, and we're on the hook for that. How do we,
If I recall, now I would have to take this with a grain of salt, but I remember there was a training that Kale and I did that talked about basically financial ability being something that could be considered. I think that's only related to a Class A or Class B. I don't think it would be an operator's license. So if it was somebody applying to own a bar and they want to spend all their resources on owning a bar, I think that's something we consider. An operator's license, I would say no. I would say that is,
Can we let them get the operator's license so they can start paying the city back for the damage?
there would be, I mean, we would probably get a judgment against them if they owe us $100,000, and yeah, they would come out of there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume you'd litigate that differently.
Yeah, we have, Rebecca mostly does a lot of the small claim stuff, but that'd be a large claim, we litigate those frequently.
Okay.
is there any way we could set up a cross-reference, like, just say Bill Smith
Who's
Poor
this?
Bill.
crashed and did all this damage and never comes in for a license. He just is clean as can be, but then 5 years from now, he wants to be a bartender somewhere, and do we have something that we would have a record of, yeah, hey, remember him, like 5 years ago, he took out that light box. And I'm using light box just because there was such
Who
a
the heck
big,
is Bill
there was
Smith?
such a big ticket item.
Light boxes are, those big electrical boxes are insane,
I know him.
yeah.
And they don't have those sitting on the shelf down there either.
No. There is no, well, you'd
You
see.
get what I'm saying, and
Yeah,
I
I-
don't want to tie
how
down
do you-
this committee, but
Your question is, how do we know somebody with a dated anything, what it's about?
Incident.
Yeah. Again, it's gonna have to be, I guess we can argue that the facts are substantially related beyond just the name of the offense. And so, for example, if somebody had a curfew vagrancy situation and we ended up denying them, and I had to look into that, what that is, that might relate, and it might not. It might have just been a guy that was launched off a firework, and the cops wrote him that ticket because they didn't know what else to write him. It could not. The only check and balance that I'm aware of, and I'm sure I could try to get creative and figure another way out, is that when it comes through and 5 years later, here is an accident, and trying to figure out if that substantially relates or not. I don't think there's another way to do it off the top of my
I
head.
just,
but those are expensive. I had to do a restitution on one when I was at the DA's office, and I think the guy owed for an OWI first like $73,000 for hitting one of those. Wrong thing to hit.
Wow. Okay,
Can I make an emotion to adjourn?
I think you're gratified by your motion.
second.
Anybody will accept that?
All in favors?
Aye.
Motion?
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Good night. Thank you. It was a good meeting.